My name is Laura. I'm 67 years old. And one day, I realized something that changed the way I see my entire life. It wasn't dramatic. No one said anything. Nothing happened on the outside. But inside, everything shifted. Because I understood something most people spend their whole lives avoiding. No one was thinking about me. Not in a cruel way. Not because they didn't care. But because they were busy thinking about themselves. And strangely, that realization didn't break me. It set me free. But I didn't always see it that way. For most of my life, I lived like many people do. Careful, aware, always thinking about what others might think of me. What I said, how I looked, how I acted. I replayed conversations in my head for hours, sometimes days, wondering if I said the wrong thing, if I sounded foolish, if I embarrassed myself. And I thought everyone else was doing the same, that people remembered, that they noticed, that they judged. But they weren't. It happened on a Tuesday. Nothing special about that day. No big event. No important meeting. Just an ordinary afternoon in a grocery store. I remember standing there, holding a carton of milk, looking at labels like it actually mattered. And then I saw someone I knew, a woman I hadn't seen in years. We used to talk often, used to share stories, used to laugh. And in that moment, my body reacted before my mind did. I looked down, pretended to read something, anything, just to avoid eye contact. Because a thought hit me instantly. What if she remembers something embarrassing about me? What if she thinks I've changed? What if I say something wrong? And then another thought followed. What if she doesn't even want to talk to me? So I stayed there, frozen, avoiding her, avoiding the moment, until she walked right past me, didn't stop, didn't look, didn't react at all. And something strange happened. At first, I felt relieved, like I escaped something. But then, it hit me. She wasn't ignoring me. She didn't even notice me. And in that moment, everything became clear. All those years of overthinking, all those conversations I replayed in my head, all that fear of being judged, it wasn't real. Because people are not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. I stood there, still holding that carton of milk. And for the first time, I saw something clearly. Not outside, inside. All those years, I wasn't afraid of people. I was afraid of an idea, an invisible audience that I created in my own mind. People watching me, judging me, remembering everything I said. But they weren't. Because think about it. Right now, how much time do you spend thinking about other people's mistakes, their awkward moments, their words, their behavior? Not much. Almost none. Because you're busy thinking about yourself, your life, your problems, your thoughts. And everyone else is doing the same. That's when it hit me. I wasn't being watched. I wasn't being judged. I wasn't being remembered the way I imagined. I was free the entire time. I just didn't know it. And that realization was both painful and beautiful. Painful because I saw how much time I lost, holding back, staying quiet, overthinking every move. And beautiful because in that exact moment, something inside me broke. Not in a bad way, in a freeing way. I didn't leave that store differently on the outside. I still paid for my groceries, still walked to my car, still drove home like any other day. But inside, something had shifted. A quiet kind of freedom. The kind you don't notice at first, until you realize what's no longer there. The tension, the overthinking, the constant awareness of how I might be seen. It started to disappear, slowly, quietly, but noticeably. I stopped replaying conversations in my head, stopped analyzing every word I said, stopped worrying about what people might think. Because the truth was simple. They weren't thinking about me. And for the first time in my life, that didn't feel sad. It felt liberating. Because if no one is watching, you're free to be yourself. If no one is judging, you're free to speak. If no one is keeping score, you're free to live. And that changes everything. I started saying what I really thought, not harshly, honestly. I started doing things without needing approval, wearing what I liked, speaking when I wanted, being quiet when I didn't. And the most surprising part? Nothing bad happened. No one confronted me. No one judged me. No one even noticed. Because they were busy living their own lives. So let me tell you something. The day I realized nobody was thinking about me was the day my life began. Because all those years, I wasn't living freely. I was performing, carefully choosing my words, adjusting my behavior, holding myself back for an audience that didn't exist. And once I saw that, everything became simple. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to be perfect, because no one is watching the way you think they are. Everyone is too busy thinking about themselves, just like you were. And when you truly understand that, something inside you relaxes. You stop overthinking. You stop holding back. You stop living in fear of being judged. And you start living for real. So if you're watching this, and you've been holding yourself back because of what people might think, let me tell you the truth. They're not thinking about you. And that's not sad. That's freedom. Because it means you can finally be yourself without fear, without hesitation, without permission. So do something today that you've been avoiding. Say what you really think. Do what you really want. Be who you really are. Because no one is watching the way you think they are. Now tell me honestly, what have you been holding back because of what people might think? Write it in the comments. Because the moment you see it is the moment you stop living for an imaginary audience.